Hey Star Wars fans, it's the Scruffy-Looking Nerf Hoarder, and in today's video we're taking a look at the top 5 Rubies Star Wars blasters.
Videos on the Scruffy-Looking Nerf Hoarder channel are intended for audiences of 13 and above.
Now, before we go over my top 5 list, let's have a quick talk about Rubies and Rubies blasters. This isn't a toy blaster. This is a costume piece that goes with a costume that Rubies make. Rubies are really famous for making costumes of various characters. They make them for adults and children. They're usually a cheaper end costume.
Oh.
Why would you want to pick up this blaster? Well, first of all, cost, because Rubies blasters are pretty cheap. They're a lot cheaper than Nerf blasters because there's no mechanical bits inside. There's no lights, there's no sounds usually. It is pretty basic, it's just a shell. But that being said, the sculpt on these things is sometimes really great. That does mean it's a lot easier to take apart and paint. So if you're looking to get a prop, this is pretty good size for an adult, and when you paint it up, it will look pretty cool. So this list is based on the potential of the blaster, looking at the sculpt that it has on there, and then what you could do with it if you're good at painting blasters, or if you want a bit of a project. Number 5 on my list is the Phase Pulse Armband Blaster, the Mandalorian blaster from the Mandalorian TV show. Now this comes in this white plastic with these orange pieces. This is usually what Rubies do, same sort of colouring on most of their blasters. But what I like about this blaster, it's got some really nice detailing on there. You can see some nice bits in the sculpt there. It does have a nice scope on the side. I think it's definitely undersized, but you can see it is really, really big. I think an adult could get away with having this on their costume. And let's do a quick comparison so you can see how big it is next to the Nerf blaster. You can see the difference is 10 inches there on the end extra on the Nerf blaster, but it also is a bit thicker as well. This blaster is a fraction of the cost of the Nerf blaster, so definitely recommend picking this up if you're looking for something that you want to paint up to look more like the Mandalorian blaster and have a prop on your wall. This one is a really great starter. Number 4 on my list is the Boba Fett blaster. Now this blaster was comparable in size to the Nerf Hasbro blaster that came out around 2010, so a pretty decent size but not full scale. And when you compare it to the more recent Nerf Boba Fett blaster, it does look really, really small. This blaster has some great details on there, and I really do like the stock. I think it really is in proportion with the blaster itself. I've seen some great projects in the past where people have painted these up and they do look incredible. So if you're looking for a Boba Fett blaster, you want something to get started with, this is a cheap blaster you can pick up, and if you've got those skills or you want to learn those skills, you can really paint this blaster to look amazing. Number 3 on the list. This is absolutely crazy that Rubies made this. We have a Zeb blaster from Star Wars Rebels. Now this is super cool. We recently saw Zeb in The Mandalorian. Hopefully we get to see him in Ahsoka as well. And here is his blaster. Now Rubies actually went to a bit more attention to detail than they usually do. So even though it is that cheap hollow plastic, you can see we've got a nice purple on there. The orange plastic as well. But we've got some actual, it's moulded plastic, but it looks like wrapping. And they've actually tried to do a bit of a paint job on there. Look at that. And even more incredibly, look at this. This is going to blow your mind. There's a moving piece. Whoa. There we go. So this falls down and then you can hold this. This is meant to be the trigger. And there we go. That's how you'd fire the blaster. Now in the show, this was also a staff and it did open up. But there's no other moving pieces on there. This is the blaster and that's all it does. But it's really cool that they actually made this. We actually got a Zeb blaster. I'll be the first to admit this is a crazy looking blaster. It just looks so odd. And obviously there's some bits that look like they should move, but they don't. But overall, so happy to have a Zeb blaster. And it just looks super great, doesn't it? And if you are a Rebels fan, then this is definitely a piece to pick up because it's so unusual. Number 2 on the list, and we saw it right at the beginning of the video, is the Mandalorian's blaster. Now, I love this because it's got some great detailing on there, but it is also the perfect scale for an adult. So you can see when I hold this, it just looks great. So if you're looking to paint up a blaster, this is perfection because it is full scale, 1-to-1 with what you'd expect for the Mandalorian blaster. It's got some really nice details in there. And once you paint this up, it will look lovely. Obviously, I'd weight it as well because it feels so cheap and flimsy. But if you put some weights in that handle, paint it up, This is an absolute amazing piece. Before we get to number 1, let's take a quick look at some blasters that almost made the list. First of all, this Fin blaster from The Force Awakens. It is very, very small, so it feels more like a handgun. Should be like double the size. But the detail on it is really nice, so if you're looking for a blaster to make a generic Rebel blaster, I think this is a really nice one to pick up. The other blaster that almost made the list is the Han Solo blaster. Now this is a really nice looking blaster, nice looking size, and it's got some great details on there. If you're looking to paint up a Han Solo blaster, this is definitely one of those options for you. And number 1 on the list is the Princess Leia blaster from A New Hope. Look at this. Now, this is still one of those cheap blasters. You can see it's very hollow. You can't pull the trigger. But what it's got going for it is the sculpt. Let's take a look at this handle. I can actually feel the grip on there. And you can see the actual screws in the handle itself. And this is just like it was in the real prop itself. There's some great details on there. Look at this. Now, each side is different as well. You can see they've gone to real effort here to get this looking amazing. I'll turn it round. You can see it's got some great details there. Even the little handle bit sticking out there. It is such a great looking weapon. Obviously this looks so much like a real blaster. A real gun I should say. It is crazy. You can see this side doesn't have the little turny bit. That side does. And even a little bit there where your thumb sits. It is absolutely perfect. Now I've seen these painted up before. And they look incredible. You would never tell that this is a cheap Rubies blaster because the detail on this is incredible. What's your thoughts on Rubies blasters? Have you picked any up before? I know they're very cheap, but sometimes the sculpts on them are absolutely incredible. Now, if you've got any hints and tips about painting these up, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you've got any videos that you've made, please share those as well because, you know, sharing is caring. I'd love to see your guys' technique because it's something that I want to get into in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, may the foam flinging force be with you.
Greetings, Exalted One. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you these 2 videos. Both are about Star Wars weapons and will serve you well. Until next time, may the foam flinging force be with you.